Right, Karthikeya, I believe Mr. Vij is there with us, K Vij, former member, Engineering and Electrical Railway Board. Do we have Mr. Vij with us?
Namaskar.
Right. Mr. Vij, please go on. My
I'm
colleague and
here.
executive editor, Karthikeya, has put a question for you, and welcome to the broadcast. Not a very good time when we are speaking with each other, but yes, how and by what method is what my colleague asks, these accidents can be avoided at all?
I have understood that the Coromandel Express and the Howrah Express were to pass through the station, through the main lines, and there were goods trains standing on the both the sides of the route. There were goods trains standing. Now, when a goods train is standing at the station, it is not possible to admit another train and grant a line clear because the route has been set against any other train entering the loop line. So it is not a case of Coromandel Express hitting the goods train. It to me appears to be a case that the Howrah Express train derailed. Its coaches fell on the line which Coromandel Express was taking, and thereafter Coromandel Express derailed and it hit the goods train which was on the loop line on the left side of it. So this is what I believe happened. Now, when this accident happened of Howrah Express, there would have been some indication of some disruption on the in the OHE traction power system. Now, if there was a time gap between the two trains hitting and derailing, then it would have been possible to switch off the overhead power traction. I believe maybe the time was not enough, or if there was any delay in switching off the power. That is what I have understood of this case.
Mr. Vij, Karthikeya here.
For the
Let
moment,
me.
that is all I want.
I'll take this liberty to ask you, sir. For example, unlike 1970s and
Yes,
80s, there was
welcome.
no mobile phone and there was no data, sir.
Pardon?
In context of railways, sir, is there a way to communicate with the rail drivers, sir? How are they connected to headquarters and what are they connected with, sir?
So the drivers are connected through a telephone to the control in the area, and the controller could have, the driver ought to have reported to the control, but then it depends how much time gap it was between the derailment of the Howrah Express and the hitting of the Coromandel Express with the derailed vehicles of the Howrah Express. So that time gap apparently must have been very little, that nobody, neither the control nor the driver of Coromandel, could see, and the trains almost simultaneously were passing through the same station.
So in this case, what are the learning curves, Mr. Vij? What are the big learning curves here? Because we keep on saying today is not the day to do politics. Today is not the day to ask question. Today is not the day to say this or that. But what are the challenges in front of the railway, sir? You have spent your lifetime there. What are the challenges? What about the Raksha Kavach?
So
Why is it not mandatory in fast track, sir?
No, I will say this appears to be a very rare case of a disaster, because the systems in force would have meant a time gap between the two trains, one train derailing and the other train passing over the derailed train, and that time gap perhaps wasn't there. But if there was time gap, yes, it was possible to shut off the overhead power traction. Now that is some timing issue which I am unable to answer because I don't have that much information.
But Mr. Vij, you said that the power lines could have been switched off. Would that decision had stopped the train, sir? And how does it happen? Who stops it, sir? What can you? Because a lot of people don't understand the chain of command of the railways. Can you take us through that? How does that happen, sir?
No, there is a electrical power traction control room. When they come to know through derailment, some disruption, some kind of, you can say, strange signal they get on their controls that some train perhaps has derailed. Then what they do is, as soon as they see that, they switch off the power over a limited section of the power distribution, which will bring all trains to a stop in that area, in and around that area. Now, whether the time they got for this purpose or not is something which will have to be examined. I do not have data between the actual timings between the two trains. Therefore, there was a gap or not. I am unable to answer that yet.
Mr. Vij, now the Prime Minister is going there, other dignitaries are going there. In your opinion, sir, what does it look like? A human issue or a technical issue? And why do derailments happen, sir? Can you take us through that? What leads to general derailment, sir?
No, in this particular case, the derailment of the Howrah Express, as I am presuming has happened first, that could have happened because of a mechanical defect, because of a track defect. It is a mixture of the two. Now that is something which will have to be found out, that what was the reason for the derailment of the first train, which will be possible by studying the site of the derailment.
Okay. Okay, you are saying the site of the derailment, but sir, when we talk about the derailment, is it only because of the speed, sir, or is it because of other factors the derailment can take place, sir?
You see, derailments are for various reasons, but mostly it will be on account of a combination of mechanical, that is the rolling stock, and the track defects, or some thing going wrong in the rolling stock or something going wrong in the track. Then they get compounded further when there are signaling problems. Supposing a signal was not supposed to have been given, but it has been given and the train has gone ahead. So in this case, Coromandel Express, line clear, when it was given, the route was set against the loop line. It could not have been given without setting the route against the loop line. And therefore it was moving on the main line. It did not enter the loop line, as has been the impression since yesterday night.
So why was this impression till yesterday night, Vitsa? Why was this impression?
This impression was because everybody said, oh, that the Coromandel Express has collided with a goods train. The Coromandel Express has rammed into a goods train. That is what was being said. As far as I noticed, I remember that. And therefore, it appeared as if the Coromandel Express entered the line where the goods train was standing. But I have understood it is not that case. It did not enter that route where the goods train was standing.
Okay. And sir, Mr. Vij, you stay with us. I just would like to inform our viewers that all passengers are being treated at Bhadrak Medical Center. All
Okay.
these, roughly 200, roughly 67 people are in Bhadrak Medical Station. We'll be putting their names there. So now what is happening is that the state administration is releasing the names of the people and in which hospitals are there, so that the effort to reach them can be coordinated. It is very important. State administration has decided to share the name of the people and where they are being treated, so that those who are worried, those whose family members or acquaintances were traveling, they will be able to locate them. So this one step has been taken. I think this is a step in a completely right direction. Mr. Vij, I would like to know, Indian Railway has a network of 68,000 kilometer, but the data suggests that mainly 2 to 3% comes under TCAS, sir. Is TCAS a very expensive device? And should TCAS now be mandatory in every part? And what does it take to deploy a TCAS, with sir?
You see, ETCS2 is a European level 2 safety system. The cost, as far as I remember, maybe it has come down. but it used to be stated as 7 to 8 lakh rupees per kilometer. Now these are the works which are works in progress. And as far as collisions are there, railway is also keeping a work in progress which is called as K Vij. So you know there is no collision possible, not only head-on, not only rear end, and not only a side collision. So, but those both the items of works, as you have yourself said, they are under progress, implementation. I understand the coach system wasn't operative in this section as yet. It has been operative in many other sections of South Central Railway and certain other railways, but that does not appear to be the case here at all. That is what I am saying. I may be wrong, but this is the interpretation which I have found as yet.
But sir, do you think that the K Vij should be mandatory, sir?
It is not mandatory. It is a work in progress.
So why is it work
It
in
is not
progress in so
mandatory.
many
It is
years?
a-
Sir? K Vij
it
was
is a
being considered in
gradual,
2011, sir.
Strengthening of safety, and that is a process which is a continuous process.
So, but in this context, the
Anybody can
question
say,
are that how do we
well,
upgrade the railway infrastructure, sir? What does railway require? What are the challenges of the Indian railway then, sir?
You see, what happens is there are, let us say, gizmos in the train, in the station, and they are all fed by signals of adjoining trains, trains on the parallel tracks through satellite communications. And you would have also seen the railway minister and the chairman railway board coming head on in the opposite direction, and both the trains stopped. So there that coach system operated successfully because of communication links. They automatically control the brakes of both the trains, and they came to a stop.
But sir, in this context, when we talk about train accidents, and I would like you to come back to the issue at hand, which is the Balasaw. What is the learning curve? Because you know every mishap anywhere in the world creates a learning curve. Vitsa, what is the learning curve here?
Since I'm not aware of all the details, so one learning that I have given a hint about is that whether the overhead traction power switching off, that could have been done, and could that be done more effectively and faster with a lesser reaction time? I am only able to think up to that stage. Rest I can think only when I know more details.
Sir, okay, you said you have given a hint, Vitsa. Who switches off the power cable? How does that happen, sir? Can you take us through?
Pardon, kindly repeat.
Sir, who gives that instruction? How does it happen? What is the chain of command, sir?
No, there is a control room for the power traction in which there are people who are constantly there, and they are watching all these disruptions or reports of a derailment, and therefore they have to take action to switch off which particular subsection of the railway power supply. So that is a matter which is there in the control room. Now, how effectively it works, or how constantly people are keeping their eyes open, that is something which can be answered if we know the time difference between the two incidents, that is the derailment of Howrah Express and the hitting of the Coromandel Express.